years and years of reading and familiarizing myself with alternative medicine. Basically all my life I've had an interest in it, but it took a personal experience with bone problems and huge doses of steroids to really start to consider options to conventional medicine. Once I was diagnosed with spinal stenosis, I had the typical surgery for that condition. However, because I developed arthritis at the site of the surgery, and of course age had a factor in that, I began to have more pain in the back, same area. So the solution that the conventional medicine physicians had for me was steroid injections. Those of you who have had those know that you can only have so many of those in a calendar year. However, I ended up having a series of three, which consisted of 3 injections per series for a total of 9. The pain relief was not remarkable. The pain relief was nothing to write home about. Of course, in the back of my mind, I kind of knew that steroids were a Band-Aid. They weren't healing, but at any rate, compounded in this whole scenario, I ended up with a hip replacement and a knee replacement and avascular necrosis in my hips. All a result of the steroid injection. So we've got a domino effect here, starting with the spinal stenosis and then layering on Band-Aids that have side effects and medications for the pain, and those medications have side effects. So I'm going to give the initial credit for leading me to Dr. Richardson's practice to my pharmacist. After filling so many prescriptions, I suppose in his mind he felt that he wanted to suggest something to me, which is kind of out of the box. I would think for a pharmacist to suggest to you that you go to basically a naturopath, because the treatments that you're going to get there are not monetized as far as commercial medicine is concerned. So he pulled me aside and he told me about Dr. Richardson's practice, and I immediately made an appointment. Once I got to Dr. Richardson, he very thoroughly went over my medical history. He tested me for levels that he was concerned about, and he prescribed a treatment regimen. At that point, 2007, he prescribed chelation therapy. So I did that and felt very, very, very much better. I was off perhaps 8 medications down to 2 as a result of the chelation therapy. I felt really good. On top of that, I think it's important to mention that the piece that's important with Dr. Richardson's practice is the dietary piece, the education that he gives his patients about how to maintain the body in such a fashion that it is able to do what God intended the body to do, and that is to heal its own nicks and bumps. The practice actually taught me, and teaches all of the patients, exposes us at any rate, to first the knowledge of how we're built, how our bodies function. He gives us comparisons to other species, meat eaters having shorter colons, thereby, creation, speaking as far as creation is concerned, an animal or a carnivore having short colon, that's made that way so that they can eliminate that meat. Our colons are not short, our colons are convoluted. And for that reason, meat eating is not what God intended for us to eat. So it's from the very, very basic to as detailed as you want to get. That's the kind of education I got at the practice. So fast forward to late 2008, I'm feeling good, and I'm getting kind of away from back into the worldly way of doing things, and kind of slipping a little bit on what I've been taught at the practice, but letting stress ease into the picture, different things that we're all exposed to. Long about 2011, I thought that I was dealing with my normal seasonal rhinitis. My lungs were filled with fluid, so my primary care physician at that time had me get an x-ray, and then he phoned me in my vehicle as I was driving home and said to go directly to the hospital to get my lungs drained of this fluid. They found 2 different types of cancer cells in that lung fluid and diagnosed me with 2 stage 4 cancers simultaneously. I went through conventional treatments, chemotherapy. At the point that radiation was suggested, I decided instead to reject the radiation and go back to Dr. Richardson. It was a leap of faith because I had to make a choice. At that point, my body was already suffering from the effects of the chemotherapy. I was losing the sensation in my feet. After 14 rounds of chemotherapy, if I had taken any more, I probably would not be able to walk. Probably would be in a wheelchair. Got back to Dr. Richardson. He took down my updated history. He prescribed a regimen of vitamin C therapy, introduced the concept of the soy product called Halen, told me where I could get as much information about that as I wanted, exposed me to the direct distributor that could get that for me, told me about Dr. Wu and Dr. Wu's cancer fighting smoothies. He virtually gave me all of the recipes for Dr. Wu's smoothies and told me to be in bed by 10, to keep my stress to a minimum, to meditate, not once, because I had managed to do that once a day. He said to increase that to twice a day. So he's given me the kinds of supports that make me feel like I am on the road to recovery. I don't like to use the term cancer survivor. I like to use the term cancer manager. I'm managing my cancer. I still go and see my conventional oncologist. But with Dr. Richardson, my results from treatment with Dr. Richardson have frankly amazed my conventional oncologists. They are stunned at the numbers that I have gotten. Going by blood work is what I mean. They're stunned at what they see, which is proven by the numbers in the blood work. So I continue to stay with the practice and will do that for however many days I have left to live. I feel so much better in the care of Dr. Richardson's practice. They care about their patients, and they allow you to be active in your own treatment. So, thank you very much. Thanks to everyone that has touched me in that practice. I have felt nothing but support, nothing but love, and I appreciate you very, very much. God bless.